How far can Kenya go in as far as politicizing development is concerned? That is the question that we'll seek to tackle here on this insightful edition of Siasa Brigade. Your go-to show on matters governance and generally the political landscape of Kenya and neighboring states around us. We try to make Kenya a better country by the day. I'm yours truly, the resident host of this show, Richard Mwanjo. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Now join me on this conversation is none other than most sought-after political analyst in Kenya and also East Africa's renowned public scholar. The first of his name today in his usual trademark Bermuda blue shirt, Herman Manyora. Great to see you, sir. How are you, though?
Wonderful.
The E is almost coming to the mid. Are you excited? We're almost approaching June, half of the year almost done.
Why would I be excited about a year coming to that?
President Ruto is about to actually come out with his first budget as the president. Are you excited that probably it will usher in a new dawn of fortunes for the country?
Nothing.
Nothing? Now he has a council of economic advisors by his side.
They have not shown me anything to make me excited. They have not given me hope.
They have not given you hope this far?
No.
All right. Then let's look at the issues that his administration is trying to tackle in as far as development is concerned. And let's start from the general perspective of looking at if we are living the spirit of the 2010 Constitution when it comes to ensuring this balanced regional development in this country. We ushered in a devolution, but to this date we are seeing issues of a politician probably going to State House so that he can have development carrots dangled on his face. If that's not the case, then we are seeing reallocation of government projects to other areas. Would you say that that's the right conduit for the country to go, whereby you have to go in bed with the sitting administration for probably you to enjoy mega projects?
No, I don't think there's any problem. The problem is the sort of people we call politicians. People who we only call politicians for want of a better word. Because there's nowhere in the Constitution that the president has the power to give development to anyone. There's nowhere.
There's nowhere?
Nowhere.
Then how do you justify the mass exodus, say, from Azimio to Kenya Kwanza under the banner of we are looking for the best for our people?
These are useless people. That's why I kept telling these are useless fellows. They are not even worth the name they are called. That's why. And you know, let's also be honest, because we live in this country. It's not even the so-called development. Even the 50,000 you live with, if you are given. People are that cheap.
An elected leader going for cheap money?
These politicians are cheap. We have seen instances of them being given 10,000 to vote. Not just the 10,000 is little money, but in a toilet.
To legislate on some bills?
They have told us themselves. 10,000 inside a toilet. And you are a member of parliament. So these are people. You can't use what they are doing to make any statement about anything.
You can't?
Yeah, because if it is development, it's the MPs who have the development. Why do they go and beg it from somebody who doesn't have it? It's MPs who can design legislative structures to ensure that development flows in the manner it should. Because they are the ones with the power to make laws in this country. They are the ones who give government the power to collect taxes and to spend the same taxes. They have the power of oversight. But because they are not capable of anything, then they can engage in the sort of stupid things you see them engaging in.
Very well.
And talk about going to look for development, which you are the one who has it. You are going to somebody who doesn't have it. You have a jacket and you are going to a naked person to give you a jacket. You know, these people we call MPs, they are useless.
They are useless, you say. Then how do you explain the recent outburst from a section of Mount Kenya leaders following the redirection, the reallocation of the 1.3 billion Kenya shillings, which was earmarked for implementation of water projects in Mount Kenya? It has now been redirected to Eastern region. Some consider it as a conduit for political gains. Do you believe that Mount Kenya leaders are justified to go and complain and ask the National Treasury why reallocate our funds that were earmarked for these projects?
You know, you must start by asking, was it legal? Was it done in the legal manner? Is it provided for? If the PS has the power to relocate, then there's nothing wrong with it.
The CS Alice Wahome actually says he wasn't consulted by the government through the National Treasury.
That's what I'm saying. If the PS has the power to do it even without consulting the CS. I also happen to know that in this country, a minister is much inferior to a principal secretary. The principal secretary is the engine of the ministry.
The accounting
They
officer?
are the people, unless things have changed, these are the people who talk to the president almost every day. And you are a minister just doing your rounds and opening projects, cutting red tape,
in cabinet meetings.
and making a few allowances here and there. But the power lies with the principal secretary. Just like even in the counties, the chief officers are more powerful than the CCs.
Or the deputy governor?
Yeah, so there's nothing strange. And that's why I'm saying, if, I know there's the politics, now people who are on the other side would want to show those who voted for Ruto from the mountain, look, you thought this was a good man, look, your project funds are being diverted from here because you voted for a wrong man. That's politics. But let us assume it is what it is. It is something which Parliament can deal with.
It can? It has the capacity?
Of course. Actually, between the three arms of Parliament, of government, it is Parliament with all the power. They can pass any law. Yeah. They can pass the law streamlining the operation of government. Putting a caveat on funds and on project funding so that they can say nobody will have the power to vary a project from Mount Kenya to anywhere else. That once money has been allocated for a project in a certain area within a ministry, you cannot do an environment or try to divert it. Parliament has the power. You don't need to go to beg anybody. It's Parliament that has all the power.
It only needs the will.
Yeah, and a little intelligence, which is where the problem is.
Very well. Then again, you're a senior citizen and you've been in this country for quite a while. You've seen successive regimes come into power. How then do you explain whereby implementation, bringing into completion, projects are started by the former regime? Once a new administration takes over, then they stall midway. A case in point is the Mao Mao, multi-billion Mao Mao road. It has stalled due to unclear circumstances. In unclear circumstances, even Kenya itself cannot come clear on the issue. Why do you think there's resistance in fully completing developments started by the former regimes?
Again, Parliament. Parliament can legislate on that and force the executive to do what it should do. Parliament can say, no government coming in office shall have the power to stall a project or to start a similar project before the previous one is completed. Parliament can do that. Parliament can pass a law and say government shall not borrow money to spend on certain projects and spell them out in law.
It can.
Everything is Parliament. But again, how do we know the projects have stalled? Is it really categorical? People are just talking politics. I don't know.
The reports have been published. Case in point, the Mao Mao road, the multi-billion one.
What has happened to Mao Mao road? I'm not so sure it has stalled myself.
The former regime was involved in pending bills with the contractors, so contractors had to down their tools midway. And the new government has a huge task of settling the pending bills.
So why would you blame the new government? If the person, the owner of the project could not pay the contractors, and the current government is facing cash challenges,
but still launching new projects.
How would you blame them?
It is launching new road projects all over the place.
That's why I'm saying once that happens, Parliament has to question. Say, why are you saying there's no money to pay for this project? And at the same time, you are saying you are allocating money for a new project. Parliament has so much power that if they use just 1/8 of that power, the executive will be the one going to beg Parliament.
The executive?
Yeah.
But don't you think it is probably the sitting administration, it will sort of be intimidated by the glory the former regime will take should they see their project that had been started into completion?
That is cheapness, and actually that will be ignorance. Because governments exist in perpetuity, in perpetual succession. So you cannot say one government starts here, then another one starts from, it just continues. There will be things that will have been started by Kibaki that are still going on now. There will be things that Moi started that are going on. The things Uhuru is going on, they will enter into the William Ruto. William Ruto will give to Gachagua. Gachagua will continue the projects, the Uhuru Kenyatta, some of them the William Ruto. A government exists in perpetual succession. And for anybody to think they can come and stop everything and start afresh, I think that's That is ignorance of the highest order.
Myopic view.
Because if government owes debts, those debts are owed by government. They are not owed by Uhuru or by
Kenyatta.
Ruto or Kenyatta. No, they are owed by government. Not Moi, not Uhuru, not Ruto, not Kibaki. They are owed by the people of Kenya. You will have to pay them.
You will.
So to say you not do this is to fail to understand how governments work.
Failing to understand.
Yeah, and that's why I laugh when I see government saying certain things. Oh, there was no money. Oh, money was stolen. Now, but now you are a government. Oh, people were thrown in River Yala. Oh, there was a container killing people at where? How? You are government now. It is you who is doing it.
And you have the apparatus.
If you say government threw people in River Yala, you are saying I am the one who has thrown people in River Yala. Unless you bring the people and put them on the table here, and then take them to Justice Mother Kome. If you don't do it, you are saying, I have thrown people in River Yala. I am announcing to the world and to my people of Kenya, Mutadu. Because governments, there is no government in Ruto.
Gachagua.
This is a government of the people of Kenya. There was Kibaki, there was Moi, there was Kenyatta 1, Kenyatta 2. There is Ruto, there will be Gachagua, there will be Mudavadi. All those people will be there, there will be president, there will be Kalonzo. But it will be the government of the people of the Republic of Kenya.
Excuses won't really...
Hakuna government ya Ruto ama ya Uhuru ama ya nani. Government is for the people of Kenya.
It's for the people of Kenya.
And if there's a responsibility government takes, government will take it, irrespective of who is president. If government starts a project, government will have to complete the project, irrespective of who is the president at that time. If government owes money, you cannot complain. You see, these guys are now complaining there are too many debts. They will pay them.
Sure. Pending bills and...
Watalipa hizo madeni, including pending bills. Because people will sue them. The people will be suing government, not Ruto.
Not Kenyatta.
No, not Kenyatta. Not Moi. They will sue government. And the government is being sued all the time.
And Mao Mao Road has to be finished at the end of the day.
It will be finished, whether you like it or not.
Whether with an exaggerated budget or not.
It will be finished. But if there's a crook, bring him, smoke him out, take him to court. If Macharia cut corners and deals, where can you continue?
Straight away.
Yeah. But you cannot touch the project of the people of Kenya and say you are stealing it. How?
The people of Mount Kenya need it.
No, the
Kenyans
people of Kenya need their roads. And it was budgeted for. And it will be done, whether anybody likes it or not.
Or not.
And that's why I'm saying we don't have a parliament. If we had a parliament, these issues will not be there. Because, let's get it very clear. Government raises revenue. They don't have power to raise revenue. The power is given to them by the parliament. Okay?
Through legislation.
To raise revenue.
Yeah, sure.
It is parliament that gives government the power to collect revenue. Number two, it is parliament that gives the green light for government to spend revenue. After they have been convinced that this is what we want to do, parliament gives the green light. Once government begins to spend the money, it is parliament to oversight. So tell me who has more power than parliament? When they go to the president for development, which development does the president have? Parliament is the one with all the power, all of it, all the power.
The custodian of power.
Yes.
And all that.
Yes.
Very well. I come from Trans Nzoia County, and then probably one of our camera person, Bilal, is from Marsabit County. The conversation has been, the governor of Marsabit cannot be allocated the same amount as a governor of Nairobi here, or say a highly populated county as Kakamega, where Fernandes Barasa is. How do you think that argument can be instilled in the ears of the government, so that much as we are crying balanced regional development, there are some counties that should be given utmost priority, all thanks to many dynamics therein? Do you support that argument?
This issue was canvassed even during the constitution making process. And it was agreed that we shall form the CRA, the Commission of Revenue
Allocation,
which will come out with a formula for sharing revenue. There is equitable revenue, which is shared based on certain factors. Those factors then result in Mandela getting so much as opposed to Marsabit, as opposed to Nairobi. That's number one. In the process of the constitution making, we also realized, accepted that there were certain regions that had been left behind. And we came up with a special fund for that. So maybe you could be arguing that we need to look at the formula and the parameters you use. But basically, there is a formula in place.
There's a formula in place.
Yes.
But then again, even those semi-arid and arid areas,
Yes.
counties domicile they are in,
Yes.
we've seen huge allocations. But year in, year out, you're seeing perennial challenges, climate, droughts, severe famine. Why can't such be a priority even in their spending as county governments?
My argument has been very simple. What the people of Kenya need to do through their government is to have a blueprint for the development of the arid and semi-arid areas. A blueprint.
A blueprint.
For development. Now, this blueprint will exist side by side with the county government allocation. So that this blueprint will give us the things we need to do and how to do them in Garissa.
A list of preference. And
Yes.
all that.
That will not be what the government will be doing. The county government of Garissa will continue doing the things it's doing with the allocation it is given. But there is a big thing the government is working on that is beyond the counties. And let me tell you this.
Very well.
If we did that, the four or five counties, I want to concentrate on Garissa, Mandela,
Marsabit.
Marsabit, Moyale, I think. Is it Moyale County?
No.
There's Mandera,
Garissa. Marsabit.
Marsabit is Marsabit, and then there's
Wajir.
Those counties. Isiolo. If, for example, government were to provide water,
Water penetration.
you could add Kitui and Mwingi, Kitui and Machakos. If you want, you can add the Rakanid. Those dry parts, and they are almost the same place, so it can be a project because they are in one geographical zone. If government were to dedicate, like, I'm not an expert in the figures, but from what I know how government spends money, if we were to pump 50 billion shillings, 50 to 100 billion shillings every year for 10 years, just to ensure there's water, in bila you corruption, just really use. We find a way so that this one will be ring-fenced, this particular 100 billion every year towards water in those counties does not disappear in the way funds normally. We find a way of ring-fencing this. In 10 years, those counties can feed this country.
No more donor reliance.
Oh, you don't even need
Relief food and all.
You know, like Ukambani. The soils are so good. The weather, the climate is so good that if you just provide water, the harvest from Ukambani can feed almost half of this country. So we do that. Then the livestock, because there will be fodder for the animals, animal feed. There will be water for the animals. Then we have standard facilities for processing animal products. Even employment alone, the number of Kenyans will be employed in those counties would be mind-boggling. So yes, you are right that these counties are getting money. There's very little show for it. Partly because that money is not enough. You must know that.
Sure.
But mainly, like Turkana, for example, mainly because there's weak county leadership. Nanoko was there for 10 years. There's not much he did in Turkana. Garissa is just squabbles. Wajir just making noise and fighting over governorship. There's nothing else they are doing. Partly because of poor leadership. But mainly due to the absence of structures. We never established the proper structures to make sure counties are viable. They can move, and we protect county funds from hyenas in the name of governors and the rest. We never did enough. So that's why you could say a county is given 13 billion and 5 years later, 10 years later, 130 billion. There's not much to show for it. I agree with you.
All right.
But we can deal with that separately as we also look at these zones as zones that require special government attention I remember Raila trying to create a ministry of northern blah, blah, blah.
Northern Frontier.
But that was not sufficient. We need to go beyond that. We need to have a blueprint for the development, a 15, 20-year plan to turn around northeastern Kenya, the northern frontier places, so that they will be the ones employing Kenyans and the ones generating income, foreign exchange, export of processed meat,
Value
processed
addition chain
animal
and all that.
products. Yeah, yeah.
Very well. There you have it, nuggets of wisdom from Firebrand, public scholar and political analyst Herman Manyora on the issue of politicizing development in this country and how better we can correct issues therein so that Kenya moves a notch high in terms of development, and also how we can open up local economies so that they thrive. And at the end of the day, Kenya definitely will get to the Tier 1 league. My name is Richard Mwenjo. Thank you so much for tuning in to Siasa Brigade. Remember to also watch our other shows on the channel by Jadiel Kabiro and also Evan Sokinyi. Also remember our live broadcasts every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 7:30. Until next time, God bless.